Okay, good morning, students. So, welcome to my video. Okay, so we are here to do the second part. Okay, now before we do the second part, let us try to recapitulate what we have learned in the first part. Okay, so I told you the weathering the storm in Ersama, it's based on a true event. Okay, it was about the powerful storm which hit Orissa in 1999, and it had caused and lots of destruction. Okay, yes. So that was the thing. And in the part one, we talk about Prashan. Okay, yes. How old was he? He was just 19 years old. Okay, yes. And he went to another village, his friend's village, to spend the day. And that evening there was a powerful storm, okay, west with a very high wind speed, and something happened which nobody had ever imagined. Okay, because of that powerful storm, it had destroyed the entire village, his friend's village, and not only that, so many other places in Orissa. You got it? Okay, and then he went to his own village to see whether his family members had survived this devastation or not. Okay, when he reached his village, he found out that all his houses were destroyed except a small part of the roof. Okay, and then in order to look for his family members, he went to the Red Cross shelter, which was built as a refugee camp during that time. Okay, yes. So in that Red Cross shelter, he got reunited with all his family members, and that was a great joy for him. Even though all their houses were destroyed, but that was of least importance. The first important thing for him was to get reunited with his family members. Okay, because he did not want to be another bereft, because already he had lost his beloved mother. Now he did not want to lose his relatives. But thank God he was able to find all his relatives fit and fine in that Red Cross shelter. Okay, now he was staying there. He was young, energetic, and so many government ads, volunteers, they were going, but he was not that much satisfied. Okay, now once he was already back with his family members, there was only one thing that was in his mind. That was to be of some help for the welfare of all the people who were suffering there in the Red Cross shelter. You got it? So, despite his age, he was just 19 years old. There were so many, old people and people of his age, but he decided to be a leader. He tried to be a leader, and let us see what are the things he did as a leader, and let us see whether he was a good leader or not. Okay, yes. Now for that we have to go through this. Okay, Prashan, all over 19 years old, decided to step in as the leader of his village if no one else did. He organized a group of youth. Okay, now these are some of the things he did. Okay, first he organized a group of youth. Okay, now as a leader, so first what he did was he organized a group of youth and elders to join and pressurize the merchant once again to part with his rice. Okay, yes. So they formed a group of youth, okay, and elders, and they try to pressurize the merchants. You know, the merchants, they used to have a stock of the ration, especially the rice. Okay, so this time the delegation succeeded and returned promptly, wading through the receding water with the food for the entire shelter. No one cared that the rice was already rotting. Okay, yes. So the first thing he did was he organized a group of youth and elder. What did they do? They pressurized the merchant, and somehow they won. Okay, they came out triumphantly. Okay, why? Because they were able to get rice from these merchant. And what are these rice for? And these rice are for the people who were which were in the Red Cross, because remember, they had not eaten. They did not have a proper food. Okay, so that was the first thing he did. So branches from the fallen trees were gathered. Okay, now they don't have any other place to cook. So what did they do? They took out the branches from the fallen trees and light a reluctant and slow fire, and then they set up fire, and on the fire they cooked the rice. Okay, so for the first time in 4 days, okay, the survivors at the cyclone shelter were able to fill their bellies. Okay, after 4 days they were finally able to eat a proper food, that was rice. Okay, yes, so that was the first thing in, and they were able to fill their belly. Now let us look at the second one. The next task was to organize a team of youth. Okay, yes. And now he organized a team of youth. A team of youth. Okay. Now what would this youth, a team of youth do? Okay, yes. So a team of youth volunteers to clean the shelter. Okay, yes. Now this group was to clean the shelter where they were in, because all the shelter was filled with urine, vomit, floating carcasses, and all this. It was not good. It was not clean, hygienic. Okay, so he formed this group of which were the youth, and they were asked to clean the surrounding. Okay, and to tend to the wounds and fracture of the many who had been injured, clean, and to heal. To heal the wounded. There were so many people who were wounded, okay, because of this. Now this group will take care of all these things. You got it? So he had started so many things. On the 5th day, a military helicopter flew over the shelter and dropped some food particles. So you see, whenever there are some devastation, especially the flood, the roads are not accessible. So even if people want to, contribute food particles, they cannot. So the helicopter used to visit, and then they would drop all the ration. Okay, yes. And it did, and then it did not return. The youth task force gathered empty utensil from the shelter. Okay, so the helicopter came. Okay, third time the helicopter came. Helicopter, and they started dropping the ration, but the helicopter came only once and it did not return because they did not get any signal. Okay, so what did he do? The group, they decided to send some message to the people who were dropping the rations. Okay, so what did they do? Then they deputed children to lie in the sand left by the water around the shelter with this utensil on their stomachs to communicate to the passing helicopter that they were hungry. Okay, so what did they do? Okay, since the helicopter did not return, now in order to send a proper communication, okay, to the people in the helicopter, what did he do? He just let the children lie down. Okay, children lie, and they carried their utensils, all the utensils on their stomach. Okay, and in that way they were able to send the message that they needed some food, they were hungry, like this. The message got through, and after that the helicopter made regular rounds of the shelter, air dropping food and other basic needs. So you see, they were able to get the continuous food because they were able to send the message. Okay, oh yes, so they used to get the food. Now that was the other thing that Prashan did. Okay, yes. Prashan found that large number of children had been orphaned. He brought them together and put a polythene sheet shelter for them. Okay, yes. Now, the fourth thing, the Prashan came to know that there were so many children who were orphaned. Because of that storm, their parents had been, destroyed. Okay, their parents had died because of this. So many orphans are there. So what did they do? He just built a shelter for all the orphans. You got it? Okay. So you just see all these things done by just a 19-year-old boy. Okay. And so he just built a shelter for all the children who were orphaned. Women were mobilized to look after them, while the man secured food and materials for the shelter. Okay, now this is the delegation. Okay, a good quality of a leader is the delegation of work. So he built the shelter for the orphan, and the women, what do the women do? The women, they look after these children. And what about the man? The man went out to look for the food so that they can fill the stomach of the people who were there. You got it? So that was the things that Prashanth did. Okay, now let us continue. Okay, as the week passed, Prashanth was quick to recognize that the women and children were sinking deeper and deeper in their grave. Okay, now the days were passing. Remember, it's so many weeks have passed. Now they got some food. Now they were mentally not happy. Okay, there were so many, what should I say, children and women. They were just sinking deeper and deeper in their grave. They were recollecting all their lost family members. They were not sad. They were not happy. They were sad. Okay, even though they get the food, but mentally from inside they were not happy. There was a strong grief. Okay, so what did he do? After seeing this, he persuaded the women to start working in the Food for Work program started by an NGO, and for the children, he organized sports event. Now, in order to, what should I say, cheer up these people, what did they do? He just requested the women to start, which is joining the NGO, and for children, he started playing. Okay, he started arranging sports. Okay, so that the children can divert their, what should I say, mind. He himself loved to play cricket, and so he organized cricket matches for children. Prashan engaged with other volunteers in helping the widows and children to pick up the broken pieces of their lives. The initial government plan was to set up an institution for the orphans and widows. However, this step was successfully resisted, as it was felt that in such institution, children would grow up without love and widow would suffer from stigma and loneliness. Okay, now these were the things that he did. Now, the government, they decide to build one institution. Okay, institution for the orphan, for the children, as well as the institution for the widows. Okay, but Prashan and his group, they did not accept it. They resisted this move by the government. Why? Because there was reason. In such government institution, although they will get a shelter to stay, but the children would not grow up with love. Okay, yes, they won't get the love they really want. Okay, yes. And what about the widows? Although the widow will get place to live, but they will be, what should I say, they will suffer from stigma and loneliness. They would be feeling very lonely, and they will be looked down by the community. So that's why he did not accept this proposal by the government. Okay, so what do the Prashan and his group believe? Prashan's group believe orphans should be resettled in their own community itself, possibly in a new foster families made up of childless widows and children without adult care. Okay, so what did he do? He believed that these institutions, okay, yes, should be in the community itself. Okay, these, if you want to build such institution for the orphan and widow, this institution should be built in the community itself. Okay, yes, not a different place, but it should be within the community so that there will be proper love and care. Okay, yes, so that was what he believed. So he started rejecting the government proposals. Okay, it is 6 months after the devastation of the super cyclone. Okay, now 6 months, everything. Okay, yes, it was 6 months since the storm came, and all these things, the development, so many work done by this 19-year-old boy. Okay, this time the Prashan's wounded spirit has healed simply because he had no time to bother about his own pain. Now you look at this Prashan. Okay, yes, just 19 years old teenager. You got it? He was selfless. He was not, all this time, he was not thinking about his own. He was just thinking for the welfare of all the people in the Red Cross shelter. You got it? He was just, altruistic, always thinking about the other people's welfare. Now, if you have this habit of thinking for the welfare of other people, then you don't get the time to worry about the things that you need. So the same thing was happening to Prashan. This time, Prashan's wounded spirit has healed simply because he had no time to bother about his own pain. Okay, yes, he was always thinking about others, and others' problem is never ending. So he did not get the time to worry about his own needs. So he was, in a way, very happy. His handsome, youthful face, he was young, handsome, 19 years old, remember, is what the widows and orphan children of his village seek out most in their darkest hour of night. So that was the darkest hour. Okay, remember the devastation. So there won't be any darkest hour like this. So the women and children, the widow and orphan children, they were having the darkest hour of grief. And in that darkest hour, there was only one light. Okay, yes, which lightens all these things. And it was none other than Prashan. So Prashan was just like a light, okay, for the people who were in the, in the dark. You got it? So do you think it was right? Yes, Prashan, he was always there for the welfare of all the people in the Red Cross, and he did not have time to worry about him. So because of all the good work, okay, because of all the things, okay, he had done, just like any other good leader, he had become just like a light for the people who were in the dark. For the orphan, he built shelter. For the women, he gave all these things. Okay, now because of all these things, so Prashan had become a light. You got it? So that was the lesson, Weathering the Storm in Ersama. Now, did you understand? Did the title really suit this? Because there was a storm, and then the people, especially the Prashan and group, they were just struggling. They were just fighting, okay, this storm in order to come out of that destruction. You got it? And remember, this is a Prashan. Okay, so what we have to keep in mind, we may be struck by so many natural calamities, but we should not, lose our hope. Instead of fighting individually, it's important for us to work together, collaborate, and try to, help each other in times of need. You got it? So that is the strong message. And you cannot underestimate anybody. Okay, just look at Prashan. He was just 19 years old, but look at all the amazing thing he had done, okay, in his village. You got it? So these are the things that you have to keep in mind. And you as a teenager, you can also do, there are so many things you can do for the welfare of other people. Okay, there are so many people around you who are suffering, who are much more unfortunate than you. Okay, so it's important for you to get rid of your, selfishness, and try to come forward to help other people who really needs help. You got it? Now, this is the thing that you have to keep in mind. And after this, I want you to do all the exercises. There are some exercises, and if you have your textbook, I want you to go through these and try to see how this story is arranged in a proper order. I told you about the different elements of a story, and this is a true story. Okay, how is the narration done? In the previous story we have done, okay, yes, what was the narration done? I told you the narration was just done in the first person, I. Now, how is the narration done in this particular story? Okay, yes, you just look for that, okay, and try to find the elements of the story. There are different elements, and how are the events in the story arranged? What are some of the words which gives us some idea that these are the events? Okay, now there are so many things you can learn from the one piece of writing. Okay, yes, thank you.